fasten your seatbelts, and get ready to get wealthy. And now, here's your host and travel guide, the real estate guru, Nitsan Mosery.
Hey, travelers, how are you? Nitsan Mosery here, the traveling investor. And we've got another great show this week. The Traveling Investor on W4CY Radio, and I'm here in my office in my studio, and I have an incredible woman sitting here, Felice Minkin. Hi, Felice.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
And Felice and I have just been sitting around for the last 10, 15 minutes talking. Felice works with people on mindset, on how to take yourselves to the next level. Now, travelers, if you've been listening to my show for the last 2.5 years, I focus a lot about mindset, because it's all about what you think. It's all about how you think. It's all about all those little tiny things, those conversations that go on in your head when you're by yourself or when you're with people, about yourself, about what's going on, about certain situations, about your future, about your life. All that, these conversations that we have inside our heads, these conversations could either help us or destroy us. And it's all about the tone and the language and what we say. And a lot of times, we probably don't even realize what we're saying to ourselves, right? It's subconscious. And I can tell you, before I let you talk, because you got a lot to say, this past week I was doing a juice detox. Mm-hmm. I was drinking about 3 to 5 jugs of juice that I made at home every night, fresh juice, and I would just drink them for 5 days. And I got to tell you, the habits that I saw that I have around food and eating were incredible. Incredible. Just the strange little tiny unconscious habits. I counted how many times I went to the refrigerator in 1 hour. Yep. Not because I was hungry, just because it was a habit. Mm-hmm. Because of maybe a mind talk that I had with myself a long time ago, how I perceive food, what food does for me, the emotional attachments, all these things. And I got to tell you, it was mind opening. It really was a big wow, because this is something that you see in real life happening. So so then the question now comes to my mind is, what do I do about it? How do I go about and shift it, right? It's all about knowing first, right? So this was kind of my thoughts. And then, when I knew that Felice was going to be on the show, I said, this is great, because, we're going to dive into exactly where we get our mindset from, where these thoughts come into place. What can we do to first become aware of the thoughts, right? Yeah. Because we got to become aware, right?
Become aware and without judging them.
And without judging them.
That's the key.
Right? When we start judging, that's when we fall in the hole.
We shut off all creativity. We shut off all connection to creating anything new.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So then we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about, okay, once we've identified them, once we know, once we haven't judged them, and we've done all that, how do we go about and changing them? What kind of tools are there out there for people like us, for people like you, anybody from anywhere, any language, job, background, doesn't matter where you come from. These tools work for everybody. Am I right?
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
you Felice, you're a certified integrative nutrition, health and wellness coach.
Yes, I am.
You're a certified yoga instructor. Mm-hmm. You're a meditation teacher, and you're also a Reiki instructor.
Yes.
And before the show, we were talking about, I'm also a Reiki master.
Yes.
I studied naturopathic medicine. Mm-hmm. I've done shiatsu, 3 years of studies of shiatsu, reflexology, herbs, acupuncture, Chinese nutrition, as well as Western nutrition as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm there when it comes to mindset and holistic body work, right?
Yes.
Because it's not just about the mind.
No.
It's about what we eat.
Yes.
About the physical.
Yes. It's all connected. And the one thing I've learned is that you really can't have it. You cannot fully heal without healing the mindset.
That's right.
I think for me, I thought that I was thinking well, and I was doing everything right, doing all the doings.
Right.
The exercise, the eating well, the speaking to people, opening up. but I noticed that there was still some quiet chatter that,
That quiet
was
chatter,
still
huh?
like pervasive. Some old stuff. A lot of times we get taught some old messages. Our parents did the best they could
Absolutely.
with what they had, but parents a lot of times are unhealed too.
Mhm.
So they come in and they have children and they raise us to the best of their abilities, and certain things get stuck in our limbic part of our brains.
Oh, I know. I screwed up. My daughters very well. They got no problems. Whatever therapist they're going to go to, they're going to have, they'll put their kids through college. I'm sure about that.
Oh my God.
But we do the best that we can with what we have, right?
That's right.
As
Yeah.
long as we're aware, and my daughters and I, we have this policy that no matter what happens, we always love each other. We always apologize, and we move forward, because you got to be able to talk things out and have that right connection, right?
That's so important. Apologizing is really important.
Mhm.
As a parent, I actually did not have kids, but I was the oldest of 4 kids.
Oh, wow.
And my father had some extra kids. I took care of them, and I have my little bit of experience
got
there,
it.
and I have 8 nephews and
Oh, wow.
2 nieces. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
And it's important. Everything you say is important, and what you do is even more important, because they learn more from what you do.
Oh, I know.
But I talk to my sisters, and sometimes they fly off the handle. Oops, I just said that on the radio. But
Shh,
oops,
don't tell them.
Don't tell them. But yeah, they apologize. And I think it's a great way to show your children that you're human, and that you don't have to be perfect, but you do get to come back and communicate.
Right.
And this way, then when they're imperfect in whatever relationships they're in, they have the courage to take ownership and apologize, and also let themselves be okay that you don't have to be perfect.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with the apologizing. It's so easy, and it clears a lot of things up. I mean, obviously you get wounded by what happened, but when someone sincerely apologizes, like you said, it shows that you're human.
Yeah.
It shows that, I have big enough shoulders that I can take responsibility, that I screwed up. I made a mistake. I'm apologizing for it. Let's move on and make it better now, right? And you teach your kids that as well, and they do that in their adult life and so forth. So let's talk. So what were you doing before you became this, sunshine light of positivity and mindset, and sharing, helping the universe, and wanting to, in the Jewish tradition, we have this thing called tikkun olam.
Okay.
It means going out and repairing the world. So every Jew, every person has a responsibility to go out and to repair the world. So,
I like that.
what were you doing before you went out on the journey to repair the world?
Career-wise,
Sure.
or well, I actually went into graphic design. So I was in graphic design for about 20 years. And but at the same time, before that, what actually brought me into health and wellness was my own path to heal myself.
Mhm.
I was brought up in an intense household. There was to be candid, there was verbal abuse, and so I was a sensitive person, and so I ended up with tummy issues very early on, because I kept to myself.
Right.
And so I started learning. This was before internet, and so I would read books,
Sure.
magazines, articles that were coming out about ways to eat to heal your body and
Right.
feel better. And of course, I would read things about mindset. As a young age, I didn't officially meditate, but as I recently remembered, I used to tell my sisters I'm going to go into a staring trance, and I would just sit and go out. So I think I was meditating before I knew that I was.
Absolutely.
And but even when I was in corporate world and doing design, I was always into health and wellness. Exercising was very important to me, getting a lot of vegetables in, and just eating for health and wellness. So I was the one, I'm petite, but I always had the largest lunch bag, and people would be like, why do you, like, that bag is bigger than you? But people were interested, and they would it used to bother me because I'm private. But then I was like, all right, well, let's share what I do. And so people would look in my bag and they would see all my interesting combinations and foods that I would bring. So I had enough food for the entire day. Typically, I'd go to work and then go work out. So I was there a long time. And so eventually one of my friends said to me, why are you not doing this for a living? And I was like, for me,
right.
It was one of those things that it was just my way of being well. And staying well from the inside out. And anyway, I ended up going back to school and studying at night on the weekends. And I got my certificate in New York to be a health coach. And that's how that started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your mindset like when you were working the job and then, people are saying, hey, you should do this instead? Where were you, up here?
I had already been studying mindset for a number of years. Before that, I learned about the law of attraction and what you focus on grows. And prior to that, I had been in therapy, so I was pretty self-aware at a very, very young age, which helped me stay okay throughout all the stuff that I had gone through. And when I was doing corporate design, a really nice way to get into the groove and get a lot of work done is put on a headset and either listen to music or podcasts or whatever shows. So I got really into listening to very uplifting mindset experts like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, even yoga people like Sean Korn. Who else would I listen to? Dr. Mario Martinez, Dr. Christiane Northrup, just anything I could get my ears on. And it was just, I knew that it made me feel better. And then I grew into learning meditation, and I would take note of what I was thinking in the day. I'm a journaler. I've been a journaler since I was
That's a good thing.
Early, since my sophomore year of high school.
Wow.
It was actually, it was required in my English class.
Okay.
And he would make us, this is a really great technique, by the way. He would make us. Write this down. He would say, come into the classroom, and instead of chatting before the bell rings, we had to come in, sit down, start writing until he was ready to start class. And we would be like, well, we don't know what to write. He said, good, just keep writing. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. And a lot of times I did that, but then things will come and you start writing these things. And it was a great way for me to get out feelings that I wasn't ready to tell people. And it is a great way for you to get in touch with yourself and see, what are you thinking?
Right.
What is your perception? And the one thing that I realized recently is what's as important about writing your journal is to go back and read it. Because it's interesting what comes out. A lot of times for me, I channel stuff and then I go back and I'm like, whoa. And there's been some situations where I said, oh, if I would have gone back and read this like a month ago, I might have made some different choices. So it's interesting to go back and really get to know yourself and not be afraid. I think a lot of people just want to keep barreling forward. And as we were talking about earlier, that our society right now is so busy and fast, which has a lot of advantages.
Sure.
And it also has some disadvantages where people don't even know what they feel anymore.
Right.
And that even rolls into, like what you said, rolls into food. People don't even know what they want to eat. They just go and they eat. They don't know when they're full. They don't know if they're eating for emotion or for hunger. So like you did the juice fast. Boca, and his approach is all about intermittent fasting. So you don't eat anything until noon as your first meal.
Right.
So from waking up till noon, a lot of people get really uncomfortable with the same thing that you were talking about. Like, well, what do I do?
Right, what do I do?
And then they find out they're actually more productive without having to sit down and be ruled by it's time to eat, so we eat.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all about that mindset, right? It's all about being able also having someone to give you a different perspective, but you got to be open to receiving that different perspective and saying, you know what, maybe that works. Let's try it. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's see what it's like. If we like it, we continue. If we don't like it, we can do something else.
Yes, and about being uncomfortable, because in the beginning, when the food's taken away, like in the beginning of your fast, and you kept walking to the refrigerator, how did you feel?
Oh my God. Very, very confused, very hungry, very angry, very upset. All these emotions came out. But what kept me going was my mindset, was my desire, my passion, my why was so strong. Also, that I put it out on social media and whatnot.
So you were accountable.
I had whoever was watching held me accountable.
Yep.
But my why was there, right? My why said, listen, I before I went on vacation with my family, I was going to the gym every single day. We came back, have not yet been to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
My mind isn't right yet, and I've seen it. So I said, let me do this detox, let me cleanse, let me get the mind and the body moving correctly. And because I wanted to do something, I wanted to, I had my why, and it was strong enough. It was strong enough to overcome all those negative thoughts that I had in my head, like, dude, what are you doing this for? What are you, crazy? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, the smell, your wife is cooking. You went out to a restaurant the other night. The food looked so good. But what's amazing is when you stick to it and you come out the other end,
yeah,
you're stronger for it, because you can say to yourself, wow, I accomplished that.
you built your confidence.
Right. Forget about the positive results of what the actual juice does and all that. The fact that I was able to conquer myself, to go and to set a goal and to accomplish it and to really physically see that happening, it does a lot for your psyche and for your mindset.
I think so. It gave you confidence, and you also kept your word.
Mm-hmm.
So you kept your word to yourself, which
Right.
is always a confidence builder. And when we don't keep our word to ourselves, we secretly beat ourselves up a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and it was great that you had accountability. You went public with it. So yeah, that took a lot of courage.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we come back, we're going to talk about the different types of attitudes and mindset and whatnot, and the tools that we can,
Do right away.
that we can use, and
Okay.
also understanding where they come from, right? Because we need to understand where they come from so that we can work on changing them.
Yep.
Right? All right, travelers. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Listening to The Traveling Investor on W4CY Radio. Please take a moment to listen to the sponsors who have a secret message just for you. Don't leave. The best is yet to come.
Yeah, that was fun.
Traveling Investor.
That's for
We'll
you
be
if you
right
want.
back.
Oh, I'm good. I just
This is alkalized purified water.
Oh, I wanna be rich. Behind everything you're searching for, something you're actually looking for.
I'm always drinking
so
water.
that's
And a bottle like this, I'm done in 2 minutes.
You
Yeah.
know,
She went out, she got Mrs. Monster.
it's not just
Mhm.
connections to a dry cleaner with
I
YP.com.
usually
Rescuing old
drive
things
around with
in the
two,
back
but
of the closet. And it's more than finding a locksmith with YP.com on your mobile. It's getting to sleep in your own bed. Whatever it might be, there are more ways to search,
Good.
more ways
Yeah,
to find
yeah,
exactly what
yeah.
you're looking
Anything you
for.
want to talk about in particular?
Gratitude was the first thing that came to me when
Only
what
from
you just
AT&T.
said. I think that is the number one way to shift
Mm-hmm.
from
The mindset?
worry and shift into the mindset of gratitude. Is a way to let things go.
Right.
And even when things are seeming like they're falling down, there's always something you can be grateful for. It doesn't have to be a giant thing.
Okay, cool.
You know?
So when we come back, we'll talk about the different...
Yeah. And quick shifts is another one that I even get better at, but like dance party break.
Com.
The mind is powerful.
Suffers from skin problems or you suspect food allergies.
I
We
know
have
even with myself, I have
We
room to catch it
a
faster.
variety of pet strollers, bedding, apparel, collars, leashes, natural chews, and
Stop
grooming.
learning, it's over.
Yeah.
We operate. Fiesta Pet Deli's mission is to
So-
help
I
every
think community is another really big one.
possibly can.
And I'm here with Felice Minkin, and we're talking about mindset. We're talking about that thing that goes on in between your ears where nobody can hear except you, right? Mm-hmm. What you say to yourself, all these thoughts, everything. You know, it's funny. You can kill yourself in the morning before you get out of bed, just with the thoughts that you have in your own head.
You can.
You know, and it's amazing, right? Where do these thoughts come from? Why are they there? Can you help us?
I know why they're there. We're built that way as human beings. It actually was a way to keep us safe when we were out hunting lions and tigers and bears and whatnot, because we had to be on alert in order to be safe. But it doesn't work anymore because
we don't have to be alert?
Yeah. Well, we have to be alert, but we don't have to be in our sympathetic nervous system.
Okay.
Which is, fight, flight, freeze.
Uh-huh.
And so as humans, we're like Velcro to worry and anxiety, and we're like a duck's back to like anything good happens. Like, oh yeah, that's good. On to the next goal.
Right.
And so we get to flip it around and start to, like what we were just talking about, find gratitude for things.
Mm-hmm.
So really absorb and feel good about your successes, the things that you have in your life. And I'm finding that the best times to pay attention to this, whether it's your gratitude or your affirmation, meaning repeating a mantra or repeating an intention for your day. Words have vibration just like sound does, and